guys. If you remember on Monday, Mrs. Mendoza mentioned that it's Hispanic Heritage Month. And so in celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month, I wanted to read Planting Stories, the life of librarian and storyteller Pura Belpre. Now, if you look, you might have seen this before. This is the Pura Belpre Award. And if you're like me, you might not know just who she was, but you will soon. Here we go. Words by Annika Aldumuy Denise and illustrations by Paula Escobar. Read with permission of Harper. It is 1921. That's right, almost 100 years ago. Pura Teresa Belpre leaves her home in San Juan for a visit to Nueva York. Words travel with her, stories her abuela has taught her. Cuentos folclóricos, Pura retold in the shade of the tamarind tree in Puerto Rico. Now a new island stretches before her, ripe for planting seeds of the cuentos she carries. Manhattan, a city of hustle and bustle, bigger, louder, crowded, yet alive with hope and possibilities. What began as a visit to celebrate her sister's wedding becomes the first steps in a new land, y una vida nueva for Pura. She works first in a garment factory, but it has cold floors and hard edges, not the soft, fertile ground where seeds take root. Then, a golden opportunity, una bendición. The library needs a bilingual assistant. Pura speaks Spanish, English, and French. She's perfect for the job. But where are her abuela's stories? Not one folktale from Puerto Rico is on the shelves. How lucky for the library that Pura has story seeds ready to plant and grow. In the children's room, she lights the story hour candle and begins. Her eyes dance, her voice sings. Pura's words paint a picture of a little house with a rounded balcony where Martina, a beautiful Spanish cockroach, meets Perez, a handsome and gallant mouse. El ratoncito Perez y la cucaracha Martina, a tale from the tamarind tree. When Pura's story is done, each child makes a wish on the candle, and with a wisp of air, whoosh, la vela is blown out. Now Pura has a wish too, to plant her story seeds throughout the land. Pura learns to make puppets. She snips and sews their clothes, paints on their delicate faces. Families come to hear folk tales in Inglés y Español, to watch Pura's puppets dance across the stage of her stories. But the library needs libros for its shelves. How can more children read Perez y Martina and other cuentos of Puerto Rico? Pura puts her story in an envelope and mails it to Frederick Warney, a publisher. Soon, Perez y Martina is a book. Now a published author, puppeteer, and storyteller, Pura travels from branch to branch, classroom to classroom, to churches and community centers, planting her story seeds in the hearts and minds of children new to this land, who wish to remember la lengua y los colores of home. Writing, learning, speaking, teaching, traveling, Pura does not slow down until, like the beautiful Martina, she meets her Perez. On a December day in New York, Pura marries the musician Clarence Cameron White. Un año away from the library, she decides. 1 year to start a new life as a wife. But a year stretches on. Together they travel to new cities. Clarence plays his music. Pura tells her stories. There are happy years of music and writing, separations and reunions, friends, family, and stories always. Until, on a June day in New York, Clarence stops playing his music, and Pura's story must begin again. It is 1961, so 40 years after she first came to New York. Pura returns to the library. There are others now, storytellers who make puppets dance, who read Perez y Martina, The Tiger and the Rabbit, Juan Bobo, The Three Magi, and many more of Pura's stories to the children. The seeds she has planted, the roots that grew shoots into the open air of possibility, have become a lush landscape into which she steps as though she never left. I want to read just a little bit of the author's note. There's a lot of it in here, but I'm going to start here. When Pura discovered there weren't any actual Spanish books in the library, she wrote them herself. They became the first mainstream Latinx storybooks published in America. Putting to use the skills she'd been learning in library skill, Pura made colorful puppets for bilingual story hours and hosted traditional Latinx celebrations featuring folk tales performed in English and Spanish. Spanish-speaking immigrants who once thought the library wasn't for them now felt at home. Pura's boundless energy, curiosity, and captivating storytelling transformed the branches where she worked into vibrant cultural community hubs. On the eve of her death in 1982, Pura received a Lifetime Achievement Award from the New York Public Library. Now, each year, the American Library Association recognizes outstanding works of literature by Latinx authors and illustrators with the Pura Belpre Award. So that's what it's for. When you see the Pura Belpre Award on a book, you know that that was either written by an author or illustrated, the pictures were drawn by a Latinx person, either the author or the illustrator, and frequently it's both. Her life and work as a librarian, storyteller, author, and advocate for the Latinx community is a testament to the power of our own stories to build bridges, not just to literacy, but to social change. Every time I enter the bright and cheerful children's room of a library or read a Puerto Rican folktale to my daughters, I think of Pura and feel grateful for the seeds she planted. Could you imagine if you came to the library and never found any stories from your own culture? Wouldn't that make you feel sort of like it wasn't a place for you? That's what she helped fix. Now, I want to read this one. So she talks about La Cucaracha Martina in the book. This is not the exact version that Pura Belpre wrote, because folk tales are often changed slightly from one culture to another. We see that all the time. If you look at our Cinderella books, you would see that I have about 15 to 20 different Cinderella versions, because different cultures have different versions of a very similar story. But this is the one we have here in the library, La Cucaracha Martina. Retold and illustrated by Daniel Morton, because it wasn't originally Daniel Morton's story. It was originally a folktale that just got passed from person to person. La Cucaracha Martina didn't much care for life in the big city. She didn't like the animals who hung out on the street corner, and the thought of getting stepped on frightened her terribly. But it was the noise that Martina liked the least. The loud city sounds hurt her tiny ears and kept her awake at night. Honk, hoop, beep, toot, wham, slam, crunch, clunk, vroom, zoom, bim, bam, boom, bing, zing, whiz, whoosh, tick-tock, tick-tock. I think that would make me not be able to sleep. On special nights, however, when all else was still, Martina would hear a beautiful noise, a soft, gentle sound that came whispering through the night. It was the most fabulous noise she had ever heard, and it made her feel all funny inside. Early one Monday morning, La Cucaracha Martina decided to fix herself up and go out in search of the beautiful noise. She took some money over to the market and she purchased a lipstick, an eye pencil, a hairbrush, 3 pieces of bubble gum, and a big box of talcum powder. Martina worked quickly. She brushed her hair and fixed her face. She shined her shoes and buttoned up her best dress. Never before had there been a more beautiful cucaracha. By the time the noon whistle blew, Martina was out in search of the beautiful noise. She hadn't gone but 1 block when she was stopped by Dog. "Good afternoon, Cucaracha Martina," said Dog. "You look especially lovely today." "Would you marry me?" said Dog, smiling. "Oh, thank you," said La Cucaracha, clutching her purse. "Would you marry me?" asked Dog, smiling. "Oh, I couldn't possibly," answered Martina. "I'm looking for a beautiful noise." "A beautiful noise?" asked Dog. And Dog went, "Woof, woof, arf, arf." "That's a terrible noise," snapped Martina, and she scurried off down the street. La Cucaracha Martina was well on her way when Pig suddenly blocked her path. "Excuse me," said La Cucaracha. "No, excuse me," squealed Pig, "for you are the most beautiful, marvelous cucaracha I have ever seen. Would you marry me?" "I can't marry you," said Martina. "You're a pig, and besides, I'm looking for a beautiful noise." "A beautiful noise?" huffed Pig, and Pig went, "Oink, oink, snort, snort." "What a horrible noise," said La Cucaracha Martina, and she darted off down the block. Soon after, Rooster came racing by La Cucaracha Martina. "Pardon me, sightly señorita, you are a most gorgeous cucarachita," said Rooster. "Would you marry me?" "I don't think I can, you see. I'm looking for a beautiful noise." "A beautiful noise?" crowed Rooster, and Rooster went, "Cock-a-doodly-doodly-doodly-doo." "My, that's quite a noise," said Martina, and she went off in search of the beautiful noise. Days passed, and La Cucaracha Martina became the talk of the town. All eyes were on her as she shuffled down the street. Animals came from all over just to get a look at the ravishing roach in search of a beautiful noise. Quack, 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 croak, meow. There was bird, chirp, 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 and mouse, squeak, 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 and bull all the way from Brazil, moo. Weeks passed, and La Cucaracha Martina thought only of the beautiful noise. No other sound would satisfy her. Not fish, gurgle, gurgle, glub, glub. Not flea, peep, 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 peep. Not even bee, bzzz. Months passed, and La Cucaracha Martina longed only to hear again the beautiful noise. She wanted to continue the search, but her 6 tiny feet could walk no further. It was on this very night, while getting ready for bed, that La Cucaracha Martina heard a familiar noise, a soft, gentle noise, a beautiful noise. It was, in fact, the beautiful noise. It grew stronger and even more beautiful until it filled the whole room. Martina, beside herself with joy, stumbled over to the window. There, On the street lamp below was a tiny cricket, making the most beautiful noise anyone had ever heard. "Good evening," croaked the cricket. "Good evening," sighed La Cucaracha Martina. "You are the most beautiful cucaracha I have ever seen," serenaded Cricket. "And you make the most beautiful noise I've ever heard," cried La Cucaracha. "Will you marry me?" "Yes," said Cricket. "Yes, I will." Friends and family came creeping and crawling from all over just to witness this sensational sight. From Uncle Ernie to Aunt Hortensia, everyone agreed the wedding was a spectacular success. Not long after, La Cucaracha and Cricket moved away. They went off to the country where a cockroach and a cricket could enjoy the sounds of silence. At night, they would play bingo, make cocoa, and stare at the stars. And sometimes, on special nights, when all else was still, they would fill the night with beautiful music. La Cucaracha Martina. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Happy Hispanic Heritage Month. I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.